Okay, thanks for watching my video. I hope you enjoy. This is going to be a short video about a Blood Nova, Death Nova Necromancer. So I'm going to preface this. I am a casual gamer. I don't do this professionally. I'm not trying to make any money off this or anything of that nature. I just enjoy playing this game and I enjoy sharing my knowledge. So let's get right into it. I'm going to start off wearing a 6-piece Trag'Ouls avatar set. This is so we can get the benefit of all 6 pieces. We're getting a blood rush, siphon blood, getting every single rune so you don't need to choose a rune. On that 2-piece set with the 4-piece set, you can see what it says, full life. Your healing from skills is added to your maximum life for 45 seconds. You get a 300% boost there. And with the 6-piece set, you're doing 10,000% increased damage. Combining that with the Guardian set, because of the benefits here, it basically just makes me very, very tanky and gives me a huge boost to my damage because it's based on my primary stats over here, and as long as each one of those is at 1,000 or above, I get a 1% increase or decrease depending on what you're geared as. Wearing the typical stuff here for this particular build, the Haunted Vision, so I can get the simulacrums lasting for forever. I'm using the Bone and Blood, I think it's called, simulacrum, which gives me the 2 of them at once. I've got my Ring of Royal Grandeur, so I can get the 3-piece bonus of the Guardian set here. I'm combining that with the Convention of Elements, because on this particular build, you only have 3 elements you go through. It is poison, cold, and physical, and most of our damage is going to be coming from that physical due to the Blood Nova, Death Nova. We're using the funerary pick, not really sure how you say that word, but the Siphon Blood drains from 2 additional targets. Each target's going to take 300% increased damage. Unless there's only 1 target, then it gets double the increased damage. So if you're hitting 3, you get 300%, but if you're only hitting 1, you get 600%. The other bonus of this particular weapon is the Siphon Blood Power Shift rune. Gives you a 20% per stack increase for all benefits and skills. So your power shift will affect all your other skills at a 20% increase per stack, and you can get up to 10 stacks. We're taking the Iron Rose here because whenever we attack with Siphon Blood, we automatically cast a Blood Nova, Death Nova. It's a 100% every time you cast Siphon Blood. The minute you hit an enemy with it, your Blood Nova starts casting immediately. The other beauty of this one is after you've lost 10% of your maximum life, your Death Nova will deal an increased 50% damage for 60 seconds. That can stack up to 10 times. That gives you 10 minutes worth of increased damage at a 50% increase. As you can see, I am taking the typical diamond for cooldown on the helm. I am wearing royal rubies on my armor itself to get the strength increase, because a strength increase is a physical damage increase. And again, the Blood Nova is doing physical damage here, and that's what we really care about. You can try balancing it out with intelligence. You're still going to have pretty high damage. But I have found in my playing around as a casual player that having the increased strength has been better than having the increased intelligence on the armor, at least. You can always do the Cul de Saint Despair. I've done that on a couple of items, and I'm going to increase the intelligence that way while getting the damage boost from the rubies. I have a diamond in my funerary pick thing. This is to give me more damage against elites. Most people would put a emerald in here, but as you can see, I'm only doing a 25.5% critical hit chance. I'm not too stressed about critical hit damage. I don't feel like I'm critting enough to get the benefit out of that. So I want to do as much damage to elites as possible. So I'm going to put a diamond in here to get that damage to the elites. I'm using the Bane of the Stricken. I'm at a high enough level to where I'm nearly getting 2% increase for every single attack that I make. So keep in mind that is an additive bonus, I believe. So it goes from 2% to 4% to 6%. So it stacks every time you hit. So each hit is a 2% increase for as many hits in a row as you're getting until they're dead. So theoretically, if it takes 10 hits, you're getting a 20% increase to damage. It also gives you 25% increased damage against bosses and Rift Guardians, and that's going to be a huge, huge necessary thing because this particular build is area of damage based. It is not point of target damage based. So when you're fighting singular targets, you need to have something that specifically is geared towards that singular target damage. So we're going with the typical Bane of the Trapped here. I get a 46% increase to my damage whenever there's a control impairing effect against the enemies. In this case, this gem is proccing itself for the most part, giving me that 46% increase. But it also helps increase damage to the bone armor dislocation. I'm going with the Convention of Elements ring here for obvious reasons. I get that nearly 200% increased damage whenever I hit with a cold, a physical, or a poison skill. In this case, I'm always hitting with all three of those at any one given time, so it's pretty much always getting procced. And I'm using the Wildebeest Gizzard gem to regenerate life that I'm losing, as well as get that shield that absorbs 200% of my total life per second refill there. And in this case, my life per second is at 140,000, so it's a 200% increase to that for the shield, that it absorbs that much damage. It's quite a bit. So that's pretty much it there. For the skills, I'm using Aura of Frailty. The reason I use this particular curse is because soon as your enemies hit 15% or less health, they immediately explode and die. And then, of course, the aura version of this, based on the rune, you get is 50%. Your range is 50% of whatever your gold and pickup radius is. So it's a 50% increase to the gold. And if we go in here and we look, our gold pickup, bonus experience, well, you know what? I don't see it right off the top of my head. There it is. Health globe healing bonus. Bonus to gold globe radius is 8. So it's 8 yards. So I get a 50% increase to that. So it's 12 yards. So if I could get this to be higher, I could make the radius bigger. We're going to use that in conjunction with some other things, because pretty much any enemy that has a curse on them, I get an increase to my damage reduction. So that helps to make me tanky. We're going to go with the Simulacrum Bone and Blood. I'm going with Blood Rush, no rune, because Siphon Blood and Blood Rush in this particular build, they get all the runes, so there's no point in choosing a rune. I'm going with Bone Armor Dislocation for its stunning ability as well as its poison. So I get a 200% increase when I use it when the Convention of Elements is triggered on poison. We got Siphon Blood, and then while we don't actually cast it, we're using Death Nova, Blood Nova for the physical damage. So in here, I'm going to use Standalone to get the armor increase, 100% for every, just over across the board, sorry, 100% increase with 20% minus because of the two minions, in this case the simulacrums, so an 80% overall damage reduction boost there. We're going to go with Swift Harvesting for the Siphon Blood to attack faster. I'm going to do Eternal Torment because I'm not worried about the cost of the curse, but they last forever. So if I can keep everybody cursed all the time, it gives me a huge damage reduction boost at all times, and that is hugely beneficial. You also get a 1% damage bonus for each enemy afflicted by one of your curses. So for every enemy you can run around cursing, and keep in mind those curses are lasting forever for eternal torment, you're going to get a 1% damage increase, right? So if you're just running around cursing enemies and you get 50 enemies cursed, that's a 50% increase to your damage, because that curse lasts forever. So the idea is to just run around, curse everybody, and just start killing stuff. So let's get into it. So I'm going to choose Greater Rift 105, and we're going to hop in here. So I'm going to get my simulacrums going here. They're up and running. My 4 seconds is done. I'm going to blood rush in. I'm going to hit with a dislocate, and then I'm just going to start crushing stuff. And this is all you do. You just kind of run around and you sit here and you hit an enemy with Siphon Blood. It's casting those Blood Novas. They're going to kill everything for you, and you just run around and have some fun. I find this to be a very fun build as a casual gamer. Like I said, I'm not in this professionally. I'm not here to make money. I'm just here to share what I've learned. I've been playing with this build for about a week now and enjoying it pretty much, ever since they released the buffs to it and didn't nerf it, from season 27. It's a reworked Trag'Ouls set. My understanding is before it didn't do all this. I'm not really sure what the set was like before because I never really played it. Never really played a Necromancer. I really like to play Demon Hunter, and I find that to be more enjoyable. But I saw this build and I kind of liked it, so I wanted to give it a shot. And as you can see, I pretty much just took him out with no problems. I'm going to take this next guy out, and then we're just going to run around and find some more enemies. Now, while this build is quite tanky, as you can see, I'm sitting at 1.7 just naturally. 1.7 billion on my toughness naturally. But it goes up as enemies get affected by my curses. My damage goes up when I hit them with dislocation. It goes up. You can end up getting your toughness. I've seen it go as high as 3 billion, so that's kind of cool. It's a really tanky build. It does a great amount of damage as well, so I'm just going to cast some Blood Nova here, and we're just going to kill stuff. As you can see, my damage is up really high, so everything about this guy is fun. One thing I will say is he's slow. You don't move around a whole lot. It's a lot of standing still, standing in place, wasting time sometimes, killing stuff. So you got to make sure you're killing your trash, but at the same time you really kind of want to hunt down the elites and get them as fast as you can. The faster you can do that, then of course the faster you're going to build your rift bar, and the faster you can get through the rift overall. So all I do is I try to find some elites. I run in, I hit them with the bone armor dislocation to stun them, and then I just start casting Siphon Blood, which gives me my Blood Novas, which then does an immense amount of damage based on the way the mechanics of the game work. We're using in the cube the Blood Tide Blade. That gives you so much damage. It's ridiculous. It's like a 25% increase or something for every enemy. So if you get up to around 25 enemies, it's just a huge boost. Some of these numbers you can see I'm doing into the hundreds of billions of damage. Again, this is a Greater Rift 105, so this is just tons of damage. I have seen it hit where it's hitting in the trillions with this particular build. So, it's fun. Now, this is where I was talking about needing the right gems to do point of target damage. This is an area damage build. It works really great. The more enemies you have, the better it does. But in Greater Rifts, you're going to get the points where you're just going to have very little enemies around you except for that one guy. And in this case, this build is slow on that level. But still, it's not so slow that you won't get through the rift. I am well ahead of pace where I need to be, and I think I'm going to easily defeat this rift without any problems. The only problem I had was getting to the point where I had all the equipment that I needed. It took time to find all the Trag'Ouls set. While they buffed the crud out of it and they made it a very powerful set, I swear they made the drop rate on it a lot lower. Like I said, I was playing for about a week to get the entire set built up. But once I had it, I was able to go through and start crushing level 100 right away with no problems. Now, of course, I am Paragon 1800 plus, so that is definitely helping. I will not deny that. I know there's a lot of others out there who they never show their Paragon level as they're playing, and they'll tell you, oh, they're crushing a greater 140 rift or whatever. Those people are probably 2,000 or above, 3,000 or above Paragon level, so don't always, see what you believe sometimes. While this is a very good tanky build and can do a lot of damage, unless you're a high Paragon level, you're not going to get more than 110, 120 out of this build to start with until you get your Paragons up there. But this is all you do. You just run around, you use that blood rush to move you from place to place as quickly as you can. And you just cast Siphon Blood with the Blood Novas, trying to destroy as much as possible. Again, we want to try to find as many elites as we can, as many blues, yellows, because that's where we're going to get our little purple orbs, and we're going to be able to get through this rift a little bit faster that way. However, unfortunately, there is always trash to deal with. All right, here we go, here we go. Now, come on. Really wish I could have stayed in there. That knockback sucks. If I could have stayed in there with all those other enemies in there, then I would have been doing a lot more damage against this than what I'm doing right now. Because the more enemies you're surrounded with, the higher your damage is with this build. And that's all based on the Blood Tide Blade, which you want to have in the cube so you can get a perfect out of it. And see how quickly everything died right there? Again, that's the Blood Tide Blade, kicking it in. The more enemies you have when you cast it, the more will die. I just saw 1 trillion in there. It's just crazy. Alright, let's find just a few more people. We're almost at where we need to be. Let's go up here. We're going to turn down here. Well, it looks like we're going to have to move on to the next level. All right. I have not had a whole lot of pylons this run either. So this has been a pretty rough run just running without pylons. Here we go, speed pylon. Now, get over here, dislocate, and start popping off. The more of these guys we can keep alive while we're killing the Guardian, the better. As you can see, I'm just kind of staying in the thick of it. That's how I play. I like to get right in there. And this build suits me perfectly because I'm not a run and gun, hit and go kind of person. I like to sit here and just attack. And as you can see, the Rift Guardian is already dead, and I was just dealing with that last guy for a minute there. And now we collect all of our loot. click on her again to get past that and see if we can get, this is going to be rough. We're going to take a chance up to 103. One more chance. Come on. Yes, 104. So even more life regen. All right, get our reusable parts and back to home base. And so that's it, guys. There you go. That is the Death Nova, Blood Nova Necromancer. Again, you want to have all 6 pieces of this set. And then, of course, Ancient Legendary based if you can get them, so that you can do the Call to Sun Despair on them. And that in conjunction with the Echoing Nightmare, to where you can get the Gem of Atonement, to where you can add the plus 625. As you can see here, I've already done that. I did the Echoing Nightmare, got the little screaming stone that you then transmute at the Kanai Cube, and then go and try to beat as many waves as you can. On that particular thing, if you do the Echoing Nightmare, something to remember, you don't need to go any higher than 126 to 127 waves. You don't ever get any higher of a gem than 125. And the gem is one level less than what level you beat. So all you have to do is make it through 126 to 127 waves. You will always guaranteed get the 125 level atonement gem. And then you can use that in the Kanai Cube as part of the Call to Sun's Despair. You slap in whatever gem is your favorite that you want to add to your item. In this case, I did it with the Topaz to get the plus 625 intelligence. And you can do that on anything Ancient, Legendary, and above. So Ancients and Primal Ancients, of course. So that's what we're going to gear for here. I'm going to be trying to find as many Ancient, Legendary items as I can, so that I can get these all to have the Call to Sun Despair on them. So that's it. I hope you enjoy. And if you did, hey, please like and follow. As I play more, I will record more. And then, of course, I will upload more of these videos.